Well, what's the crack? And welcome to the second episode in our new series of the Proud Craic podcast with me, Damien McCaul. Pronouns he, him, proud Irishman, here sharing stories and lived experience to hopefully increase allyship in the world. I'm back with my wonderful guest from the first episode of this series. Hello again to Lee. Is the crack still 90?
Craic is still 19. That's the
Excellent.
set. Yeah.
Good, we're off to a good start then. If you're listening to the podcast today, just to give you a bit of a description from myself. So I am wearing a black t-shirt with the word proud emblazoned all over it at the top, at the chest bit. And then each of the letters has a different colour depending on the different flags. So there's like a lesbian flag, bi flag, trans flag, progress flag, and correct me.
What's the middle one?
Oh no, you put me on the spot. I think it's Pan. Is it Pan?
Yeah. I know that's progress, trans, and then I know bi, and then lesbian, but
Yeah.
then pink, yellow, blue.
Oh, please
Oh.
feel free to correct us if we're incorrect.
Lost the Craic.
Well, this is the thing, and I'm glad you asked me about it because I think there's this kind of preconception that, if you're to be an ally, you have to know all of what do the colours mean, how many flags are there, what's my flag, what's your flag. No.
No, just be. Do you know what? Just be decent, Craic, and then
Yes.
you'll probably be an ally comparatively to
Yeah.
like the rest of people in society. I mean, just be decent, Craic.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. But if you do have a flag, then proudly fly your flag.
Like,
So that's me. So black t-shirt with the word proud and all the different colours flags on it. And I've got my silver proud necklace that I wear all the time. I've got kind of dark brown greying hair, and brown eyes. Lee, how would you describe yourself today?
uh, curly hair. I'm sort of in a business cash kind of situation going on, but I've got my tash and my septum piercing, which is how I'm showing my individuality. It's how I'm showing my queerness today. I'm not a Taurus, I'm a Gemini, so I know off track. But yeah, I don't have any specific jewelry on, so I feel like I should wear more silver now. Are you trying to keep vampires away or werewolves?
I don't know. Might explain a lot, but but yeah, I do like my silver. Yeah. I'm wearing a ring that I wore. It's an ring, and I got it in India about 10 years ago.
What's an arm ring?
So, have you ever heard of a when people do
Like
chant and
yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
in the lotus position or whatever.
yeah.
Isn't that right when you sit there?
Yeah, lotus position, yeah.
All right, I'm getting confused with some other type of.
Oh no, it's like I think it's like zazen and that kind of stuff. Those kind of meditative
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
practices. Yeah.
So that chant, when that
Yeah.
happens, one of the times when I was out in India years and years ago, a couple of the people that I was training, they picked me up from the hotel to take me shopping.
Yeah.
And I got into their little car, and
Yeah.
on the dashboard of the car, there was this symbol, but it was in like gold kind of plastic. I was like, oh, what's that? And then they explained it to me, and I was just like, wow, this is pretty mind blowing. So please, for those of you that are going to let me know I'm not describing it well, this is just my understanding of it. So it can be interpreted as, if depending on how spiritual or religious you are,
Yeah.
it could be the first sound that was on Earth from when God created Earth. It could be from a spiritual point of view when people are trying to become or be Zen and kind of like clear out the thoughts from their mind and clarify things. It helps you center yourself. Um, and I just really liked it because at the minute I need to be Zen because we've both heard the flag coming down for the millionth time. It's got the most tape ever. But we're gonna leave it, and if it falls, it falls.
Yeah.
So I when I shopping with them and they explained it to me, find it in a mahogany chest, and this sounds ridiculous, but I swear it's true. New Delhi, and we went to this open air market called
Yeah.
Dilly Hat, and they had 50 stalls. I think it was 50. I went into this one, and this is how silly it sounds. it was built into the roots of a tree. This kind of like
Avatar like thing. Like that's class.
it was. This is why I'm saying it sounds silly because I
It
couldn't
sounds
believe it kind of
so
came
good.
across it. It was really cool. So I went in and there was this just all this beautiful jewelry in these like big mahogany boxes, and then I spotted this,
Yeah.
and it was just in amongst hundreds of thousands of pieces of jewelry,
Mm.
and I spotted this, bought it, wore it, did some training, and when I was doing the training, because that's what I was over in India doing,
Mm.
um, the class that I was training, it just wasn't getting in.
Yeah.
And the scores they were doing when I was testing them, it just wasn't going in. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah.
I caught this out of the corner of my eye and had this kind of like breakthrough or a moment
Mm.
where I realized you're training your audience the same way as you train your audience back in the UK.
Okay, yeah.
And it
Yeah.
made me realize, okay, if it's not the content, it's me. I'm doing something wrong here. And made me think about what is it I'm saying. So anyway, could be a far longer story. I know,
Mm.
but hard to believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the shorter version of it is the next day I went in and instead of saying to them, has anybody got
Yeah.
any questions? I was like, what questions have you got?
Mhm.
And slowly but surely they started asking more questions.
Mm.
And my learning from it was I I kind of thought, well, okay, they're very respectful of people who come in and help and take the time out to help them. Um, and them not asking questions was a way of them being respectful to my teachings.
Ah,
So by me then saying, what questions have you got? And them not asking questions, then maybe that could be interpreted as disrespectful.
yeah.
So it's a very weird way of putting it, but for me, it made sense. And it's a life lesson that I've had. And that was nearly, gosh, 20, no, 18 years ago.
Just by checking in to see their own cultural experience and
Yeah.
how that shapes. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's really
so,
interesting.
so it's a ring that I've had for years and years and years. And I always worked, but it always reminds me of that kind of like life lesson.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, the next time I see you have to have some form of jewelry so you can tell me some long-winded story like I've just done.
Yeah, do some digging.
So yeah, that was our descriptors
Yeah.
as to what we look like. So I didn't really allude to what we were doing in the second episode, but we're following the same pattern as we did with the first series with Jenny and the Proud Craic. There it goes. Um, and what we're going to do is two things. We're going to hear from Lee and I's cracking cultural recommendations, which is now a
Mhm.
thing. I've made it a thing.
Yeah.
And then we're going to also hear about your fabulous uh, dinner party guests that you would bring to a big, fabulous queer dinner party. So, do you want to kick me off then with your cracking cultural recommendations?
Well, I think you should start me off because you're the host.
Okay, fair enough.
Go.
That's me, Telt.
Yeah.
Uh, So mine is there's loads I could share, but I this one that I found was a great one for people to go to and actually find out loads. So Channel 4,
Yeah.
the TV channel, but also available online and all these other things, they have something called the Pride Collection. So over this last few months, what with Belfast Pride and Newry Pride and Trans Pride and all these different prides going on, I just love well, we talked about it in the first episode about the need
Mhm.
for pride and why it just gives you that safety and the
Yeah.
celebration and protest and all these different things. But the Pride Collection, what it does is it's got loads of movies, loads of queer movies,
Yeah.
and TV shows. So, do you remember or did you watch It's a Sin?
I don't know.
Oh my God, you have to
I
watch
went
It's a
into it.
Sin. So, Ollie Alexander
Yeah,
from
yeah,
years and years, yeah.
yeah.
So he played the lead character in it, and it was about the AIDS and HIV crisis.
Mhm.
But it was heartbreaking. It was hilarious. It was beautiful. So you have to check it out. So it's on in the Pride collection. But then there's movies, and I talked about in the first episode or the first series, the Pride movie is one of my favorite movies. And there's loads of other different things as well. And what's the one? I've literally gone blank. And it was based on Canal Street. Queer as Folk.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
if you've never seen Queer as Folk, then we talked about queer in the first one. Do you know how I forgot queer? Um, in the first episode, but I referred to a bar called Queer Bar, and it was actually on the street where the
Yeah.
filming of Queer as Folk took place in Canal Street. So yeah, so that's my first cultural recommendation. So if you want to learn a bit more about some significant kind of queer cinema or TV movies, it's not just UK based ones. There's global ones as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So do check that out. Because even though Pride season's technically over,
Mhm.
you can be proud all year round. But I don't know how long the Pride collection is on Channel 4 for. So please do check it out. That's mine. So yeah, so that's you all set up. But no pressure because I think the one I came out with was like the gayest thing I could
Yeah.
recommend. So just any kind of cultural recommendation that you've
Yeah.
got that you think would be that you're enjoying or that you have enjoyed that you think our listeners might enjoy. So, well,
Yeah. So I maybe I'm a little bit of like a weirdo. Uh what I really appreciate in queer cinema is really subtle themes that
okay.
build on top of each other. So I did mention a bit earlier Hannibal,
You did,
the
yeah,
TV show.
yeah.
I think that's fantastic. That is not my cultural pick,
Okay.
but I think it's sort of gives you an idea of the way I look at media these days. I'm actually going to say something that's more about gender and gender identity, and that's the new Superman movie. You know,
I did not expect
yeah,
you to say that,
you did
but
not
I
expect it.
I am a huge Superman fan, so
Right.
I'm very intrigued. So do
Yeah.
tell me more.
So, as we look through depictions of masculinity in cinema and in TV shows, we're always getting we're getting this perspective of masculinity that is almost, it emphasizes some things and makes people more weak in others. And
Uh-huh.
I thought what was really good in the Superman movie was that it made a portrayal of masculinity that was on one point vulnerable, on a large part strong, and it was very, very human. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think a lot of queer people can they can resonate with that different. I say it's different now, but it wasn't in the 70s. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean? The first depictions of Superman, that depiction of gender being something or the depiction of masculinity being something that's actually quite positive rather than something that's like toxic
yeah.
or negative or different. I think
Uh-huh.
that's really big. Um, Also with Lois Lane being as a character such a strong individual in that movie.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, so bringing in like a very positive, um, non-toxic version of femininity and masculinity without compromising what those gender roles and gender experiences are. I thought it was really beautiful.
Yeah, really
And I
interesting.
even though it's not I wouldn't say and I mean it's not pride, you know.
Yeah.
It's not pride, but
However, it is a superhero though,
as a
and
superhero,
superheroes are a huge part of the queer
yep,
community. Yeah,
yep.
so
I
yeah.
feel like uh the immigrant kind of um
Mhm.
very overt themes
Yeah,
really do line up beautifully with the queer themes of double identities
yeah,
and the true you is not the one that everybody sees every day, like Clark Kent being
yeah,
Superman.
yeah,
I feel like there's a beauty and a succinctness to those kinds of movies that Superman 2025 really got,
yeah.
that it hasn't had in decades. So
Well, that's wonderful because I really enjoy that because I, as I say, am a huge Superman fan, but I didn't take that away from it. And
yeah,
now that I'm reflecting on it, I love it. It's given another element, another level to it because I am a huge fan of all the movies, the whole series, the mostly dark recently movies.
yeah, yeah,
But Henry Cavill, Brandon Routh's nice as well. Anyway,
yeah,
but, but my main takeaway from it was the brightness and the lightness
yeah,
and the kindness,
yeah,
and the kind of positivity of it. And
yeah,
I love the real comic bookness of it.
yeah.
And just now listening to what you've just said, adding
Mhm,
another level into it, it's just
mhm.
wonderful. Um, yeah, so I will when I rewatch it, I'll keep that in mind because I agree that's quite rare these days.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's there's so many different. That's why I brought up Hannibal, because there's, if you just take it from the watchable standpoint,
Uh-huh.
it's a very psychedelic TV show. So you almost have to look into things. But then looking at media, like I would say one of the biggest like movies that I love, be like Aliens and Alien.
That's so funny. So to quickly interrupt you,
Yeah,
2 weeks ago, I went to see Eddington, which
yeah,
unfortunately, even though
mm,
Pedro Pascal's in it and it's
yeah,
lovely, was a tough movie to watch. I don't
yeah.
know who would recommend it. It actually connected in with the pandemic and everything. We'll get
Right.
to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I come out of
Traumatizing.
it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
would. I would.
Sorry. Oh, we keep talking over each other.
We've lost the
Too passionate. We've lost
lost
the
the
plot.
plot.
Yeah, the plot. Get it
Yeah.
very good. No, come out of it, and then I saw there was an anniversary screening of Alien.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
never seen it in the cinema,
Yeah.
and I watched it, and it was so strange because there was so many things I took away from it, thinking, "Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, this is so far ahead of its time. It's beautiful." Then there was other things I'm like, "Oh, it's a bit crude and a bit like I
Yeah.
don't know if they get away with it now." But I have to admit, it's easily one of the best films of all
Yeah.
time. So yeah, sorry to kind of like take a segue from that, but it's only
Yeah.
because I literally just saw Alien on the big screen like
Yeah.
less than 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and yeah, I can definitely see like Sigourney Weaver being like a kick-ass kind
Yeah.
of role model to many, many people.
Yeah.
But what were you going to say then
I
about
was
Alien?
literally going to say that
Yeah,
I think as a it's so weird. I feel like it is a real like a female empowerment kind of. I took away a lot of female empowerment from those movies. From the first one, because the only competent character survived, I think, and the way they didn't shy away from femininity.
yeah,
They just incorporated that into their character, which was Ellen Ripley. And then second movie, instead of again shying away, they made it a major theme of motherhood.
yeah.
With she left her daughter behind on Earth, and she grew up and died. And now she finds herself as a mother for a survivor, going up against a queen, which is the mother of the nightmare that she's been facing for years.
Uh-huh.
I feel like there's a gendered element to that movie that
Yeah,
I on rewatch as an adult, I
yeah.
was like, wow, this is really something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent. So
yeah,
this is again good crack because you weren't
yeah,
planning on saying Alien, were you?
yeah. I wasn't not at all, not at all.
Um, so do you have any other cultural recommendations before we move on to one of our final segments?
No, let's move on.
Grand. So the final segment then is our big queer dinner party. So this is something I introduced in our last episode, and the whole point of it is to get a bit of an insight into our guests as to
Right.
who would you like to sit down and have the crack with at a dinner party, whether they be alive, dead, family member, celebrity, whatever you want. But who would you like to sit down with you at this dinner party? So I'm gonna put it to you to start with first, if that's
Okay.
okay. So who would you like to bring along?
So I think the first person, the big person that I would invite over would actually be like Ian McKellen.
Like,
Yes. Yeah. 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 I think for someone who has lived so long and is so majorly successful, um, coming through the community, I would really be just so deeply curious about not only what they've been through and the challenges I'm familiar with them going through, to now being an older person and seeing how young people are talking about queer identity and queer communities, and see what resonates with him and where are the points of connection. I think like intergenerational stuff is not really talked about a lot in the community because, sensitive subject. But ageism is something that we're all struggling with in the queer community,
yeah.
internally and externally.
Yeah.
We don't see that many older queer people.
Mhm.
Um, we do see them, they become a focal point of judgment. You know, they're not queer enough, or maybe there's a moral how we litmus test them if they're a good role model. Do you know what I
I
mean?
do, yeah.
And I think um there are a lot of people like that. I know that from a discussion like Ellen DeGeneres has come up, holding up a moral kind of assessment there.
So it's funny you mentioned that. So in our first episode, Jenny mentioned her.
All right.
We had a similar chat
Yeah.
about how she was a trailblazer,
Hmm.
however, questionable behaviors.
Yeah, there's a lot there,
Yeah.
and there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Go check out the last episode. But there's a lot there and a lot to talk about, and I think you know we should be looking for points of connection across generations.
Mhm.
Um, Morals and values and our personhood evolves as time goes on. Like, the person I am in my 20s is not the person I am today. The same to when I was 14. They're very different individuals, almost like entirely different people,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
it does, yeah.
I wouldn't recognize me. And I think where we should be looking for those people is those common threads. With Ian McCaul in particular, I was thinking more like uh I don't really know that many younger gay men being platformed, do you know? Certainly not like locally, like I don't know that many like local gay male celebrities.
Yeah,
And some of the bigger trailblazers that we see are uh, you know, of different parts of the queer community.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, just I would be really, really interested to see what his perspective is on how far we've come.
Yeah, because there's literally so much we could talk about, but you're right. I think wasn't he involved in the setting up of Stonewall?
Think so.
Yeah,
Think
so
so.
I think he's very familiar with the challenges and
Yeah.
the activism back in the day. But I know he even then recently did a TV series called Vicious. Have you seen that?
Oh my God, it's brilliant. Oh God, it's brilliant. Literally thinking about that. That's exactly what went through the though. Yeah.
Yeah, and he plays this big like uh, in his words, a big old queen.
This is it. Love it. Absolutely love
And it's really funny. And in fact, one of the funniest things you should
it.
Google
Yeah.
it or check it out on YouTube
Yeah.
are outtakes from Vicious.
Yeah.
They're so funny. But yeah, he's yeah, you could spend a whole evening and still
Yeah.
learn loads more.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be a wonderful guest. Um,
What about yours?
Mine's a more recent one,
Okay.
because I'm conscious that I'll be sharing guests as the series goes on. So I've loads of historical ones that I want to talk
Mhm.
about. Um, but there's like an internet personality you would call at the minute who I'm going to see live. This one, it depends what you think you would get cancelled for. This person just does pop culture kind of Mickey takes.
Okay.
So have you heard of Rob Anderson?
Sorry, yeah, his name sounds
So
familiar.
I think his Insta tag is Heartthrob Anderson.
Okay.
Um, and now to be fair, he is a bit of a heartthrob in that, but
Okay.
he's just so funny, like really, really funny. And what he does, he looks back on TV shows and movies from like the 90s and the noughties.
Yes, I know him.
Um,
Yeah.
and he's just, he like plays it in the background and then he does this kind of talking head over it.
Yeah.
But he's just so cutting with it
Yeah.
that it's like, even if you're not an ally in any shape or form, you just kind of think, oh yeah, that wasn't right. They shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But how the hell did they get away with that?
Yeah.
And I think it's Seventh Heaven is what he became famous for. So it was before your time, and it was of my time. And it was a really cheesy family drama about these parents who had seven kids,
Wow.
and it was called Seventh Heaven. And the father was a pastor, um, and the mother, I don't know what the mother did, but they all had the different dramas each week,
Yeah.
and they were just so
This
ridiculous.
sounds like an average Northern Irish family.
A lot of drama, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What a week.
um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I stumbled across him on Instagram,
Mm.
and he's hilarious. And but he's kind of like one of those. I don't know. I think he would call himself a millennial, but he's very good looking. He like works out loads, but he's American. Um, and so he's very familiar with a lot of the kind of gay culture.
Yeah, yeah,
So he's very self-referential, takes the mick out of himself. And I think it's really good because he's so unserious
yeah,
that you just feel so welcomed by him.
yeah.
So, which is bringing me to the point where, if anybody does want to see him, he is on tour in the UK and Ireland. He hasn't paid me to do this. He's no idea who I am, but I think he's a great cultural reference because he refers to loads of like our cultural history,
Yeah.
especially TV shows and movies. But he's also happens to be openly gay man,
Mhm,
just being himself and talking freely, and he's really funny. And then sometimes if you
mhm,
follow him on Instagram, he gives some really poignant insights into his life and then what's going on with his little dog and everything, and just global stuff and everything.
mhm.
But yeah, he's somebody that I would love to have the crack with
Yeah,
at the dinner party, and I think he
yeah,
would be. I think he would be respectful of Ian McKellen,
yeah.
but he would also love a good bitch with Ian
But
McKellen.
this is it. This is it. We have a culture and we have a community where we can be in conflict and have a bit of slobbering. We
Yeah,
call slobbering in Northern Ireland. We can have a bit of a bitch, but we can there's like there's a loving quality to it.
yeah,
There's like a way your older sibling would be incredibly critical. It's like it's only because they love you. It's almost cruel when I put it that way. But there is that kind of element of we've all had hardship in our lives, and so conflict and hardship and giving somebody a hard time has become part of our language.
yeah,
I'm not going to pretend that that isn't a bit problematic. It is,
yeah,
but it's an absolute gag. I
yeah.
I know Rob Anderson. I think he does TikTok as well.
He does.
There's a series he did is Welcome to Gay Science.
Oh, because he's got the
Yeah,
book and
yeah,
everything.
he's
Yeah.
so dry
Oh, he's
and
brilliant.
he's cutting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Great, great. Small world.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, because in the book, which I
yeah,
think was made from the TikTok series,
yeah,
he takes the mick out of people talking about like how, oh yeah, we're not born gay, we get made gay by our culture. He
yeah,
puts it in a really dry, scientific way, and you kind of like, what? That doesn't sound right. No way. What? So he's just kind of putting it back to people, going, "Do you know how ridiculous you bloody said?"
yeah, exactly.
Um,
Very smart.
yeah, yes. So yeah, so is there any other guests, or do you think that would be a good party so far?
I think that's a good party so far. Yeah,
Excellent. So thank you very much for sharing that, Lee.
no worries.
And that actually brings us towards the end of the podcast. I know we were having great crack and weren't sure when the crack would end because it was
This
90,
is it.
but this
Yep.
is it, has to end.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being the second guest on the Proud Craic podcast.
Thank you very much. It was really, really good to join.
Well, you're very
Yeah,
welcome. And honestly, I've learned loads, and
yeah.
hopefully our listeners, our watchers, so we can call them watchers. That sounds weird, doesn't
Watchers,
it?
layers.
Leaders. He's like creeping up on it.
Love yous.
So, yes, our viewers was the word I was looking for on watch.
Oh,
Um, the people that are involved or listening to this podcast or watching in every shape or form,
yeah.
hopefully you've taken away one or two ways to be not necessarily a better ally in the world, but just a couple of things that might help you with your allyship out in the world.
Yeah.
Also, there's loads that we've learned about Cara-Friend, who we touched on in the first episode, and Lee has shared his personal stories about how he's got involved and about the fantastic work that they do. Any last shout outs to calls to action that you would like our audience to take away in regards to something that's currently happening?
Well, I think rather than what's currently happening, just our Belfast LGBTQIA plus youth centre, or it's not a queer youth centre, it's LGBTQIA plus
Okay.
because we keep it like that. It's the acronym. But the youth centre, it's open 3 nights a week for young people aged I think it's all broken down into age ranges, but it's 12 to 25 is sort of the kind of thing. I think we've got a Thursday group, which is 12 to 15 or 16, and then the older group, which is 16 plus. And then obviously there's the 18 plus group. So if you are interested in coming along, just pick up the phone, go on to Instagram or Facebook. You'll be able to see some of our social media channels to be able to get in contact with us. Um, if you know someone who might be interested, if you want to come down and just have a bit of the crack, then please reach out. We'd be happy to have you.
It's wonderful. Thank you, Lee. Um,
I was working my way through a hiccup there at the end.
you
Say,
did well. Well
say
done.
no more about
We better round up then.
it.
So something that we do, you've seen on the last podcast is a kind of sign off. So I don't know whether to keep this in me telling you to do the sign off or whether you see if you figured out what the sign off is. Okay, so let's try it out then, and then we can always do editing. So, thanks again for everybody for tuning in, whether it be via Spotify or YouTube. Keep an eye on your notifications to see
Yep.
when this episode and the previous episode come out. But also, I've got loads more series lined up. A lot of been reaching out to quite a few people from different backgrounds and different parts of society, and some really interesting people that I'm going to be having on the podcast soon. Some family members, some friends, and some new friends that I've met through Pride, whether it be Newry Pride or Belfast Pride or Trans Pride. And it's another example of actually the community that we talked about earlier in the episode. This is hopefully going to help the community building of the queer community, but also their allies as well. So I touched on allyship and its importance. And really, you don't necessarily have to be part of the queer community. Something that me and Lee touched on that we didn't mention before is when it does come to talking about the queer community, as much as it's considered to be somebody who's either like non-straight or is different in some shape or form. There was a point you wanted to make, Lee, about that. What was that?
Yeah, so the queer community probably the question really has to be asked, is it populated by just those people who are LGBTQIA plus,
Uh-huh.
you know, um, parents of queer young people, um, best friends who've been with us through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Maybe they have found a home there in our community, which does sort of pride itself in embracing difference as
Hmm.
something that's a positive, that is an empowering thing. So I think maybe there's a future conversation to be had on how we define our community itself and whether or not those people actually who do fight with us along beside us and behind us, whether we should really say, you're part of our queer community. I personally think so. Sure.
Well, I think it's an interesting point. And as I said, I'm kind of new to using the terminology, so I'm more than happy to continue to have our
Mhm.
have a conflab or the
Yeah.
crack. What am I saying? The crack. So yes, so thank you for that, Lee. And the point we were getting to there was anybody you think that would like to listen to the podcast, whether they are part of the community or just anybody that just wants to live in a better world where we can all kind of just be kinder to each other and more accepting and understanding. That will help us make better connections in the world. Then let them know about this here. So remind them again, if I haven't hammered it home enough, that you can search Proud Craic on Spotify or on YouTube to stay up to date with all the episodes. And this is the sign off I was talking about, Lee. So let's see if Lee remembers it. Putting him on the spot. Right, okay.
What? Darn.
Oh my God.
What? What?
Oh my God. I tried to gesture to Lee what the sign off was, and he thought I told him to burn.
What?
Okay, so let's try it and let's see if he'll pick it up, and if not, we'll go for it again. So thanks again for enjoying the crack with me, Damien McCaul, pronouns he, him. And remember, stay proud.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I'm so do this time. I'll do this.
Okay, we'll do it again then. But okay, this may be kept in or not. I don't know. The editing is a bloody nightmare. So
That's all right. We can all feel together.
love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks again for joining us on the Proud Craic podcast, and do tune in for future episodes. And remember, stay proud. Bye.